Shalom. Shalom. Um, Another Wisdom Wednesday. Always hard for me to say that. Wisdom Wednesday. Um, Gonna give some wisdom today as you read the title on fasting. Right? I have it titled The Importance of Fasting. The Importance of Fasting. Right? A lot of people have the question, do we need to fast right now? Is that is fasting needed? Do we have to fast if we have Christ? And a lot of stuff being said. So we're gonna, get to the bottom of it. The importance of fasting. You might be missing this aspect in your walk, right? In your life, you might be missing this aspect of the faith, right? And I don't want you to miss out on something that could be a game changer in your walk, right? And that can improve your ability to move mountains, as the scriptures say, right? Or convert um, a soul, right? Fasting is very important. But without further ado, right, getting straight into it, but I want to say we want to give all praise and honor and oblations and obeisance to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son, the Messiah, as an instrument of salvation, who became the high priest and the mediator for the nation of Israel, right? But getting straight into it, man, it's not gonna be a very long video. I have some Salakia, forgive me. I have some scriptures already pulled up, so we can get straight into it, right? The first one we got is Mark 2:19. The book of Mark, chapter 2 and 19 reads, it says, and Jesus said unto them, let's go back a verse, get some context. 2:18, it says, and the disciples of John and of the Pharisees used to fast. And they come and say unto him, why do the disciples of John and the Pharisees fast, but thy disciples fast not? Right? John the Baptist, he had a bunch of followers. That's all a disciple means, of followers of him. And they used to fast, right? They were in a state of mourning because they felt sorrowful. And, the baptism was cleansing, right? We have a lot of purification. Some may say rituals, but we have a lot of purification processes in the law, right? And a lot of them require being dipped in moving water or bathing one's flesh, right? So it was nothing different with John the Baptist. They were doing this, right, to be born again, right, to be cleansed of their sin, so to speak. And the Pharisees, they also had disciples too. Many people wanted to be Pharisees. Many people were Pharisees in training. Many people just trusted the Pharisees. So they had a lot of followers as well. And they used to fast because they read about, in the law, and then they read about it in the testimonies and the prophets, how our nation used to fast. Maybe when they read about Esther, maybe when they read about Daniel, maybe when they read about David, right? Maybe when they read about, Judith and things of that nature, right? They probably took that on and wanted to embody that, right? But they asked Christ, but your disciples, they don't fast. Why not? This is what Christ said. And Jesus said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast, right? Because they're soaking up all the knowledge. They're happy. They're not missing anything, right? The children of the bride chamber, right? They're so to speak. Their father is there, right? If we're talking about the children of a bride chamber, right? Um, imagine you're at a wedding and they're in the back, right? And their father's getting married, you know, and they're happy because their father is in their life. So there's nothing to be mourning about, right? But if we keep reading, Verse 20 says, "But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast in those days." Talking about his disciples, his followers, right? We are his disciples, we are his followers, and guess what? The days come where he's been taken away from us. And now is the time to what? Fast, right? Even if you think about a widow, right? A widow gets married, right? When she's with her bridegroom, throughout all her life, they might have some arguments, but for the most part, as the scriptures say in Genesis, her desire will be to her husband. She's not mourning. She's getting relationship weight from eating, right? But say her husband goes off to war or dies in some car accident or dies in a tragic act, some type of tragedy, then she'll go into fasting and mourning. Her body will just do it. She won't feel like eating. She'll be depressed. She'll be down. Right? We see it all the time in the movies and stuff like that, right? And nothing's different here. Spiritually, we are moaning and groaning for to be back with our, you know, Messiah. And so that's why we are to fast in these days. So that answers the question of, should we be fasting right now? Right? A lot of people, because they don't want to, because they listen to their flesh, they won't fast. They'll make up excuses on why they don't have to fast, and it's not important, and it's not commanded, it's not a law. But Christ in the red letters said what? He said when he leaves, it's time to be fasting, right? For a purpose, that is, right? Let's go to man. Let's go to, we got it, Isaiah 8 and 20, right? It says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them, right? I want to make an emphasis right here. It says to the law and to the testimony. Now, testimonies are very important. And one of the reasons why you should be fasting, because a lot of times it's not like a genie in a bottle, but a lot of times fasting will get you answers. Fasting will give solutions to problems. Fastings will get your prayers heard faster, right? No pun intended, right? And that will give you a testimony of how he brought you out, how he led you on the right path, how he opened your spiritual sight, how he helped you move mountains with your prayer, right? Your testimony, right? So that's why I wanted to read that. I want to read another one about testimony, right? We got 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 8. It says, be not thou therefore ashamed of the testimony of the Lord, meaning it says to the law and to the testimony, meaning those testimonies in the Old Testament were written for a purpose. They were written for our learning and to encourage us and exhort us and to remind us of what the Most High God has done and what he can do and what he will do, right? And what he might do if you do the wrong thing. All right. Testimonies are very powerful, right? You have people say there's the Old Testament and a New Testament, right? You have the New Testament testifies of who? The testator, who is what? Christ, right? That Old Testament testifies of, I guess some would say, the law, right? Nonetheless, both testimonies, you are needed, right? Testimonies are very powerful. It's a powerful thing to be able to go through something, right, that the Most High God brought you through, and to tell somebody about it for their edification, and they're saved because of it. They're the wiser because of it, right? So we should never be ashamed of the testimony of the Lord, because it might win somebody over to his side. So you should think about the testimonies that you have in your life, because it's very easy for us to forget them, right? It's very easy for us to have a mountain and to have a big wall in our way, and the Most High knock it down, and then life moves on and you forget about what he did. You got to always be reminded of your own testimonies, right? And not be ashamed of them. A lot of us, man, I always say never, because you can end up in a lot of situations you don't plan on being in, right? But you shouldn't be ashamed to say, yeah, like Joseph, I was in that prison, but look at me now. Yeah, I was in the lion's den, but look at me now. Yeah, I did lose my wife, but look at me now. Yeah, I did lose everything and had boils on my skin like Joe, but look at me now. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was on my deathbed, right? But I prayed unto the Lord, and the angel came and look at me now. Yeah, I did have this sickness. Yeah, I was blind. Yeah, I couldn't walk, right? But the testimony is what really got Christ his fame was people's testimonies of him. That shows you how powerful testimonies are, right? Even to this day, a testimony can shape the minds of somebody to bring fame to a situation on the left side and on the right side, right? But nonetheless, your fasting will help you get more testimonies. They will help you get more testimonies. If you think, man, I really don't have that many testimonies in my life. It seems like I pray, but God doesn't seem like He hear me. He seems like He just wants me to struggle. And try fasting. You seem like you're lost. You seem like you don't know which step to do next. Try fasting, right? It says, therefore, be not thou therefore ashamed of the testimony of our Lord, nor of me his prisoner, right? But be thou partaker of the afflictions of the gospel according to the power of God, right? This is the next one. Revelation 12 and 11, another one on the testimony. It says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, right? A lot of times you're going to overcome the enemy by remembering those testimonies that the Most High God gave to you, right? Or brought you through or gave you in your life. And a lot of times it comes from prayer and fasting, right? You want a spouse, fast, right? You want good kids, fast. You want a nice job, fast. You want a garden, fast, right? I'm not saying that everything should be peachy and cream, right? In your land of captivity, right? On this side of earth, right? We're not in the kingdom of heaven. This is not our rest, but fasting will help us get things that are a necessity, not a want, but a necessity. And the things that are promised to us, right? All those things I just said, they're promised to us, right? Jeremiah promised them. Genesis showed us those promises. Those things are promised to us wherever we go, with no matter what captivity we're in. And you can get those things by fasting. You could change your situation around by fasting. You're in heavy oppression, right? You're in heavy tribulation. Fast. You need favor from the enemy, right? You want to be made at peace with your enemies. Fast, right? That's how you overcome, right? Because you're fasting. You're not asking any God. You're asking from the blood of the Lamb. You're asking the one and only God through His Son, right? It says, and they love not their lives unto the death. And you got to be willing to die for this, right? And that's one thing that fasting will do. It'll make you feel that much closer to death. And that's why a lot of us don't like doing it, right? But a lot of us are given into our flesh. Our flesh is telling us what to do. Our flesh is making the decisions for us. And that's because we never check our flesh with fasting, right? We never make our flesh hurt. We always give our flesh what it wants. And you are not weaker than these bodies that are going to fade away, right? You aren't. A lot of us, we make excuses and we say we can't do it, and it's not healthy, and you're psyching yourself out. It's not supposed to feel good. When you fast, it's not supposed to feel like it's tolerable. It's not supposed to feel healthy. You're killing yourself, right? You got that headache, you're killing yourself. Keep going. God, you're doing it for God, though. He's not gonna let you die. And if you do die, guess what? You 9 times out of 10, you gonna make it to the kingdom because you fasting for him. You know what I'm saying? In the book of Maccabees, they fasted, or they didn't fast, but they didn't fight on the Sabbath. You think when they died from not fighting on the Sabbath, they went to the lake of fire? No. You know what I'm saying? So when you fast, you are gonna have that hole in your stomach. You're gonna get lightheaded. You are gonna get aches in your bones. That don't mean, oh, I gotta drink some water. I was dehydrated. Yes, you're gonna be dehydrated. You're not drinking water. It's you gotta put your flesh in check if you want that testimony, if you want your situation changed, right? You gotta show the Most High how serious you are. You gotta show you Most High, I don't love my life unto death. I need this right now, right? Mark chapter 9 and 29, this is the last one I got. It says, and he said unto them, this kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. Some of your situations, some of the trials you have, some of the tribulations you have, some of the oppression you have, some of the things that are given to you in life, your lot in this life, you can't change it but by prayer and fasting. But you never tried fasting. You're too scared to fast, right? And even if you are fasting, you've been in the knowledge of the truth for more than a year. You have no excuse to not be fasting up to 3 days. You can't make yourself fast for 3 days. The nation fasted for 3 days with Esther. The nation fasted for 5+ days with Judah. I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about the nation. The nation fasted in the wilderness with Moses for 40 days. The nation, that means man, woman, and child, old and young. And you telling me now that you can't muster up after 2 years in the truth, after 3 years in the truth, after 4 years in the truth, you can't muster up to beat your flesh for 3 days? It's a problem. And that's why you're not getting your testimony, right? We got to be bold, right? We got to be courageous. We got to be strong. And we ultimately we have to fast. So Khan, let me show some things on here. It says 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 16 says David lost his son and his daughter after the Most High with prayer and fasting, right? David fasted. Right? All of our forefathers and foremothers have examples of them fasting, right? We won a lot of the wars in the Maccabee books from fasting first, right? Also said, the sister also said, Khan, we have to be diligent and steadfast in our fast, knowing that our strength comes from the Lord, right? The only way I can make it through fast is from the Spirit itself. The Spirit of God is the only way I make it through fast. I tried fasting and juicing and stuff for health reasons and for the gym and stuff, and I always fail, right? But I've fasted for the Lord up to 6 days straight. You know what I'm saying? Gave myself the UTI because of it, right? And the only way that was possible is through the Spirit of God, and that's a testimony right there. And I got stuff answered, and I got clarity on things, right? And also, you understand, you'll have more confidence and be more encouraged after you fast like that to fast again, and also understand that you have confidence to defeat your flesh, and you didn't know you had that you didn't know you had that power, right? That's why it says denying the power thereof, having a form of godliness, but denying it. A lot of us, we have a form of godliness. A lot of us, it says it's written in our law that we are gods. A lot of us, we have power, but we deny that power every day, all because we're conditioned to think that we aren't as powerful and dominant as we are. We get dominion over this world and everything in it. But with that, it's your brother Azrael. Hope you were edified. Hope you were encouraged, exalted. I'm going to say shalom, peace, and blessings.